Hello, everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I am Mr. Jason Roscom. With me remotely each and every single week, maintaining that social distance, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I'm getting better.
Getting better all the time?
Well, just getting better from whatever fucking sinus bullshit I've been going through.
Yeah.
So finally on the starting on the upward trend, which is good.
Good. And just to be on the safe side, for those of you watching in the YouTube, yes, we are still doing this remotely. Should be back to normal next week, hopefully.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll do it live, as they say. So, what are we talking about this week?
We're talking about the Clone Wars.
Yes.
Believe it or not, because it's really kind of the only thing going on in Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the episode. What episode number is it?
This is 9.
Episode number 9 of the Clone Wars season 7. It's about fucking time. Is on.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I put in the YouTube description the first good episode of the season. So, yeah, I mean,
exactly.
That's all I got to say about that. So, before we get into that, got a couple other things to go over. First of all, there was a little bit of news that happened since the last time we recorded. On the official StarWars.com website, they announced that there is a new 8-part Mandalorian behind-the-scenes documentary series coming out starting May the 4th. So I guess it's a lot of Jon Favreau and whatnot behind the scenes, kind of hopefully talking about the decisions they made, why they decided to bring these characters into the forefront as much as they can, because obviously there's still a lot of Baby Yoda stuff that we don't know, so they're not going to get too much into the secrets of that. But yeah, it should be interesting. It's really supposed to be an 8-part behind the scenes, and maybe there'll be some interesting bits of information to glean from that.
I got the Baby Yoda thing stuck in my head all of a sudden. I mean, because aside from what we're going to talk about here in a little bit, like the Mandalorian, the child, the Baby Yoda, that's basically all that's what we got to look forward to.
Yeah.
So there's still eager anticipation for all that. So
yeah, because I mean, Rise of Skywalker has come and gone. Basically, it's been out on home video for a couple of weeks. Have you watched it yet? Since it's been out on video,
I haven't bought it yet. No.
But have you watched it? Because I know you've had access.
I have not watched it. I've watched the additional stuff, but I haven't watched the actual movie. I actually. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in our weeks, because I'll actually have something for that.
All right, fair enough. I also want to give a big shout out to Keith Layman of Layman's Terms. Follow Layman's Terms on YouTube. I'll put a link in the show description.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Everything okay? So he shot me a text earlier today, and I was actually out here in the studio getting things ready for the podcast today. And he's like, "Hey, I want to leave a gift for you guys in the studio. I'm just going to put it on your front porch." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'll let Kristen know so she doesn't mace you when you're out there." And so like 10 minutes later, she comes in here with this little gift bag. So I haven't actually opened it yet. So we're going to do this live. But I did see one thing, which was right on top. We got some new coasters. Hopefully you can see this on the YouTube.
Nice.
The Layman's Terms official coasters, which I know we're going to keep at least 2 of these here in the studio. Maybe we'll do a little giveaway also. But thank you for those, Keith.
Right? Are you actually you're going to give stuff away? Like I'm surprised people aren't beating our door down right now, talking about how we have not come through with the promised gifts and prizes. Jason.
Yes. So we've also got Weasley's Wizards Wheezes, these little red notebooks. Not quite sure what the reference is.
Is that a Harry Potter reference?
Maybe. But yeah, we got two of them, two notebooks.
Neat.
Yeah.
A,
So
part, a solid part of every person's everyday carry.
yes, and then we also have a handwritten note from Keith himself. Let me just make sure.
Make sure what? Like, this is a not safe for work podcast, Jason. I'm sure there's nothing in there unless he's leaving his social security number.
So the note says, Dave and Jason, thank you for the continued support of myself and Layman's Terms.
Nice.
There's 2 notebooks and coasters, one of each for you. So if you have an idea for the show, Magic Deck. Oh, okay. So they're Magic Deck notebooks. I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Supergirl wants one of said notebooks.
Okay. So cool. And he says, stay safe and healthy, Keith Layman. And P.S. May the Schwartz be with you.
May the Schwartz be with you.
So thank you, Keith. And once again, go subscribe to Layman's Terms on YouTube, or you can also see Keith's videos on Facebook. He posts them on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Does he always post them in the private Facebook group? I know I always see them in my feed, but I never pay attention where they're coming from.
You know what? I've been so social media has just been aggravating the fuck out of me lately. So I'm scrolling pretty quickly. So when I do see something, like I jumped on, he was doing a test the other night, and I ended up jumping on late, just in the chat. And I forget how I came across it. It just happened to like be there. I'm like, oh look, Keith's on.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, so I'm not sure where he posted, but look, just like with our Podbelly support, see, I'm gonna sneak the Podbelly in there. With our Podbelly supporting, or our support of Podbelly, or vice versa, the
words, motherfucker.
Words, English, motherfucker. Do you speak it? There's like distractions going on over there. No potatoes or carrots. Don't worry.
Yeah.
If you go to podbelly.com, we are the number one. Actually, this would be a great point, like great opportunity. Like once I get back in the studio, like if I could control what's on the screen for when we do this, that way I could like do share screen and show the Podbelly page and scroll through it. That would be fucking great, wouldn't it? And then we could go to Layman's Terms and show Layman's Terms, and then we could go to Patreon and show our Patreon supporters. Like we could do all that via this interface.
Yes.
So go support all those things. And let's not forget our friends at the All Things Star Wars, or the ATSW Escape Pod, or the Escape Pod, or whatever the hell it is that they like. So many, all of the names. I words. Anyway, what was I supposed to be doing? I'm sorry.
I don't remember.
I'm still not 100%, man.
I can tell, but yes,
I'm a little bit off. Hit the like button, people.
So yeah, to summarize what Dave said, go subscribe to Layman's Terms on YouTube. ATSW presents the Escape Pod on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, the Used and Abused podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
And Used and Abused. Damn it. See, I don't have anything in front of me written down. We could show all of these things. We could go like bring up Podbelly in the shared screen and then scroll through and go to the page where it has the Escape Pod and Used and Abused. It has all of that on podbelly.com. Won't have Layman's Terms because it's a YouTube show, but yeah. You could also go check out Swede's Studios and Big Swede's Big Adventure and the Tactical Swede and Mr. Swede Goes to fucking London, which is probably the next channel he has out.
Yep. And then don't forget the Fett brothers, Bronco Fett, Orange Jacket guy, are still working on their show. So more to follow on that. Yeah, anyway,
everyone's doing things. It's a beautiful time.
Yes, but this isn't about these people. This is about us today. So let's move on with all things Star Wars.
Fair enough. Wow, Jason's fucking driving a train hard. Must be that fucking champagne he's drinking over there.
Yeah, maybe. But
Dom Perignon.
Are we ready to move into our weeks?
Sure.
All right. So obviously, I mean, unless you're like fucking mute and blind, you know that the COVID shit is still going on. Here in Jersey, we're still pretty much on a hard stay-at-home order to at least until the middle of May. So,
yeah,
it is what it is at this point. You know, I'm not happy or sad either way. It's just, it's life. Again, we're very fortunate to where we're in jobs where we can telework, and we're thankfully still pulling a paycheck. I have all the sympathy in the world for the people who want to get back to work, who are frustrated as hell by all of this.
Yeah, and you, part of my sanity is and not watching in social media is because I see a lot of I see a lot of things on there that really
I know.
Contextually people are going to look back on it and go like, you know what, I kind of took the wrong stance on that. And I think right now Jason and I, we live in an area that is, I said it before, we're the most densely populated state per square mile in the country.
Yep.
So based on population density and our proximity to two major metropolitan areas, you know, Philadelphia obviously being one and New York City being the other, and up in North Jersey and Bergen County, Mercer County, all those counties, like, they are fucking getting slammed. They're literally stacking bodies right now, literally stacking bodies. I don't know that other people in the country are really getting to see what we have to go through. You know, I know personally 2 people that have died from this disease, 2 people that have died from this. And it is fucking terrifying to otherwise healthy people. I'm not talking about sick people. I know people that have been sick, and you can have conversations about underlying conditions on the other stuff. But the fact of the matter is, people that were otherwise healthy human beings just happen to be in that, you know, between 50 and 60 age group that have lost their lives to this. It is a big fucking deal. Yeah. Especially if you live where we live. So I again can sympathize with people that might not be in population areas where they're earthwise affected the way we are. But at the same time, this is one of the reasons why the states have to control this, and they have to do it smart, because only the state's going to be able to micromanage their affairs in this manner. But at the same time, it's like one problem with social media is it's going to blanket whatever it is that you're saying, or, you know, you're feeling that particular moment. It might be relevant to you in that particular area, but when you make blanket statements, it doesn't necessarily, it makes you come off as being not empathetic to what's going on in certain areas. So can you hear them in the background?
No.
All right, good. So anyway, this whole mid-May thing is going to go to June at a minimum, I think. What I'm afraid of is that for our area, if you start letting people out, and people are fucking idiots, man. Like, that's the whole point of this, like, having to enforce social distancing, is that, like, people will do dumb shit. So that's one of those things where if you're not told you can't do this dumb thing, we can't trust you to do it on your own, they or whoever. And I don't want you, because you think you can do whatever fuck you want. Yeah, I'm going to isolate my fucking house, but I still have people that are leaving the house. Like, I've been like mega isolated, man. I haven't, the last time I was in fucking Wawa was like March 20 something.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since I've been in a store and really interacted with other humans that weren't Jason or a handful of people that I've seen in the squadron. So it's really like, it's affected me personally. I'm really doing my best to make sure I keep it at arm's length, because I have, you know, underlying health issues. So it's a big deal. That's why we're going to do it. That's why practicing social distancing, even when I'm feeling mildly, you know, I know it's a sinus infection. I've been on antibiotics. Cool. Eventually, at some point, I'll get better. But I think this area, until we got to get to a point where we're not fucking filling up, you know, stacking bodies in kitchens, because there's no place to put them. I mean, running out of morgue space is a real thing around here.
Yeah, that nursing home story was a national headline where they found all the bodies in the New Jersey
Mhm.
nursing home.
Yeah, the
So,
Masonic Home, which my organization supports, they had 35 cases in there, and those people are extremely high risk. So, yeah, it's a thing. It's still a thing for us. It probably will be for a while. More to follow. Uh, but yeah,
yeah.
just if you're on social media, just ugh,
Uh,
you must do what you feel is right.
Of course. And honestly, again, like I said, I have sympathy for people who are really frustrated by all of this because, somebody in Idaho, they may not have a lot of cases out there and they're like, what the fuck? Why can't I go to work? Where
Mhm.
obviously in New Jersey, there's very specific reasons why we can't. But, it's like you said, they really got to play it state by state. But,
Yeah, and they do, like Bronco Fett brings up in the chat. He has no idea where money for food's coming from next month. I think that's a reality for a lot of people.
yeah.
And hopefully there's some sort of solution set.
Yeah.
We can only hope. I mean, it's all we can do. And we could hopefully entertain you mildly. I'm playing with knives again. This is the bad thing about sitting here at my desk.
Yeah.
I have so many knives. Like I could legitimately spend an hour just going through knives. I was thinking about that. Sidebar. How many people do you think would be interested in me like waving a knife about for like 15 minutes? Like, do you think could that be a show? Could we be like All Things Star Wars presents Dave's Knives?
Like, especially if it's here in the studio and I'm like right across from you, scared to death.
Well,
that'd be pretty entertaining.
I don't know what you're afraid of. I mean, my my hands have decided to let go of shit just out of nowhere, like with a knife, and it's like, yeah, like is that what we're worried about?
Potentially, yes.
Stab.
Oh my god. So, sidebar of your sidebar. Have you guys noticed that? One bullet point into my week, Dave's talked about 90% of the time.
Oh, we're doing our weeks?
Yes.
Oh, well, there should have been a separate line item for COVID-19.
Right.
Because that had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with COVID.
Fair enough. And kind of along those same lines, my next thing for my week is, I kind of went into this sort of bragging on my isolation skills, so to speak. We talked about how I've always been a fairly introverted person anyway, how this was just me kind of being in my element. Well, I think it's even getting to me at this point because I mean, I haven't felt myself lately at all. And I think this is starting to get to even me, the king of isolationism. So yeah, it sucks. I don't know what the solution is, but I haven't even worked out in the last almost a week now.
Wow.
Haven't worked out, haven't ran.
Well, the weather's been shitty too. I mean, we had one nice day where you probably could have been like, you know what, it's nice out, let me go run. And that was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I went outside yesterday and, I have a paper that's due. I still got like 3 more pages to write. But the weather is a big part of it, man. It's when the weather's dog shit and you just don't feel like doing anything. Everything aches.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
Yeah, so. No, I'm sure that is a big part of it because there were times where I was motivated to like want to go out and run or something, or even go out and mow my lawn, which looks like shit right now. But it was, like you said, rainy, shitty outside. I'm like, ugh, I really don't want to deal with this.
Dude, it was 29 degrees the other morning. It's like it's fucking almost May. So it plays a part in it for sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think what your problem is that you haven't found a place where you can masturbate on your own terms. Because even when like you were locked in a room in Malawi for fucking 3 weeks, that's probably all you were doing was papering the fucking walls in there, for 3 weeks. So since you don't have a fucking safe space to do that, with everyone else in the house, that's probably what's wrong with you. What you need to do is you need to go find some place that's outside of a school zone and just go and take care of it.
Or a Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah. Are they even open anymore? I don't think there's even a Chuck E. Cheese around here anymore.
There's still the one in Cherry Hill, I think, by the Cherry Hill Mall. But anyway.
Cherry Hill. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that
don't
might
go
have...
masturbate by the one in Cherry Hill.
Why are we talking about this?
You said you weren't feeling yourself, and it just thinking you were missing out on something. I don't know.
I have nothing to say to that. So moving on from that topic, did you know IMDb has their own movie streaming service?
Negative.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think I was Googling a movie I was looking to stream, because you never know what movie's on fucking what service at this point, which one's on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu. And one of the results for a movie I was looking for came up IMDb TV. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So yeah, IMDb has its own streaming service and it's actually free. So they've got dozens of movies on there. Like right now, one of the big movies they have is Gremlins, the original Gremlins.
Nice.
They have the Gremlins sequel. Bunch of just like random movies on there. But yeah, it's all free to fucking stream. I was watching the old Michael Keaton 1996 classic Multiplicity on there. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Nice. But, I do. I watched it all of like 3/4.
Yeah. So yeah, they just got a bunch of random movies on there. And again, they're all free. You just got to create an account and go on and just watch shit. So in these days of lockdowns and quarantines, there's another option to go watch movies. They even have some TV shows on there.
Do you think it's sustainable though? I like having so many streaming services. I mean,
no,
I know
definitely not.
The idea is that we're going to go, go into this a la carte fucking cable type thing and, have more access stuff where there's going to be a lot more streaming. But at some point it's going to like ebb out to all these independents and it's probably going to go back to conglomerates again.
Yeah.
And I just like, I'm never going to look to IMDb.TV first for my, my shit.
No, but I mean, again, the thing that stuck out about them for me was the free.
Right.
And there really wasn't that much in the way of commercials either. So, I mean, it's just another option that's out there. So, speaking of streaming stuff, you and I, back in the day, I'm pretty sure it was you came on the old Project VCR podcast that I used to do, and we did a review of Galaxy Quest, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. So there is
a few non-Star Wars appearances I made.
Yes, there is a really cool documentary, and it's on Amazon Prime Video right now. It's called Never Surrender, and it's a documentary about the making of Galaxy Quest and then the cult success that it's had since then. Really, really interesting. They got interviews with the entire cast. It's following a lot of the fan cons and things like that, but yeah. Sorry, I'm distracted by the chat and the smart asses in there.
Yeah, it's the same.
Anyway, but yeah, really good documentary. If you're a fan of Galaxy Quest and you have Amazon Prime, which like who doesn't have Amazon Prime at this point? Like why wouldn't you? Go on to the Amazon Prime Video, watch Never Surrender. Good shit.
Yeah, I will definitely endeavor to see that because that would be interesting.
Yeah. So that's really it for my week, though. Dave, I can hear myself through your fucking feed. So I don't know if you have my volume turned up or anything.
I do not.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from then, but some sort of feedback where I can hear my own voice. Anyway, why don't you go with your week?
We already talked about a lot of it. I stayed away from people. I've been sick. I'm finally starting to get a little bit better. I've been busting my ass trying to get schoolwork done, which is really, really tough when like you're so sick. You only got like 15, 20 minutes at a shot to try and get shit done. And I'm like too sick to even play video games. It's like just been, ugh.
Damn.
And yeah. And then work, still got the setup here, still, working, dealing with that. And I actually I'm working basically in the same squadron, but doing a different job as a government employee as opposed to a contractor that starts next week.
Nice.
On Monday, which because of the the restrictions and I don't know how the onboarding is going to finish up. I'm like really, really anxious about that because I'm like, oh fuck, I gave my resignation for one thing and now I'm starting the other thing and I don't know. I like the job itself isn't the stressful part. It's the actual getting of like making sure that everything's going to happen in time. So there's not a break in service, as it were. So,
right.
But I was doing some homework the other day and I was usefully distracted. I was listening to John Williams like I do constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in there listening to, I think it was, I forget what part it was, but it was out of Clone Wars, episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me just put episode 2 on. So I have, the big screen is over here and I put episode 2 on. I found myself watching that and I had the sound way down for a portion of it because I was trying to work on something. Sure. And I made the comment in the sidebar cantina that like watching it muted, like all those like scenes in the beginning where it's just Anakin talking to Padme, like the uncomfortable fucking sexy time scene, like all that. If you watch it while it's muted and just look at like try and think about what they're saying as opposed to what they're actually saying, it's like a fucking Spanish soap opera, dude. It like even the way that it's cut from the like where they're standing and shit like that, you feel like you're watching a fucking soap opera.
That's funny.
And if anything, it was actually a little bit more enjoyable that way. Like if you just mute it and then like pretend what they're saying as opposed to what they're actually saying, that would actually be a fun exercise to just kind of dub over, what they're doing, like in some fake fucking Spanish. So anyway, so I watched that and I immediately went into episode 3. And holy fuck, what an underrated movie. Like I don't know if I haven't watched it in a while or just because of the conclusion of the Skywalker series, but I can't even think of the kid's name right now. Hayden Christensen. Yeah. Like despite if you take his acting in the beginning of that movie and just throw it away and just watch everything that's happening, like the build up from basically when they tell him he can't be master, from that point forward, everything he's doing is on point. It's almost like he was brought into, he was brought into the, oh fuck! It totally distracted me. The thing that's up on the screen. Yeah, play episode 2 on mute while playing Pink Floyd. Yeah. That would be interesting,
especially if it all synced up.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I just think like George Lucas, like he brought Hayden Christensen on, knowing that okay, this last hour of the trilogy is what I want you for. Everything else in between is going to be like meh. Yeah, your lines are going to be kind of suspect and throwaway, but like what he did for that character, and watching episode 2 and episode 3, even without the fucking the Maul fighting sequence in episode 1, the swordplay alone with the lightsabers is just fucking epic. It's so fucking it's so on point, and it's like bam 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 bam, like so much shit's happening. Like I believe it that they said they had to slow it down for the movie because the actors were Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, and they would go into the fight sequences and they would be so fast they had to fucking slow them down.
Oh yeah, if you go and you watch some of the behind the scenes thing of them, practicing for these sequences, holy shit, man. Yeah, they were going all out.
And it was fucking great. It was great. And I have to agree with the millennial memes that are out there. They're talking about how the prequels gave us these amazing fucking lightsaber battles, and they did. They absolutely did.
And I mean, I don't want to shit on the sequel trilogy because I really enjoyed a majority of the sequel trilogy. Yeah. I just disliked half of one of the movies. But like, if you look at the lightsaber battles in those, they're nothing compared to the prequels. Like none of those battles are anything close to the intensity of the prequels. I mean, within the confines of the story, you understand why, but at the same time, like that intensity is not there that we had for the prequels.
Yeah, I'll tell you, watching episode 3 again was intense. It was intense. I really, I felt it. I felt the music. And then I went in and started watching Rogue One after that. I only made it like an hour into that. Obviously didn't get a lot of schoolwork done because I'm watching the movie, but
Right.
it's these days, right, when we don't have anything else going on, and throwing on some Star Wars in the background, for me it was a little bit grounding. I think it was going, you start getting in your own head a little bit because all you're doing is work from home.
Mhm.
And it's like, fuck, I feel like I'm so far behind everything. And then I just needed to watch a little Star Wars just to kind of reset.
All right, sidebar again.
Okay.
Do you find working at home to be more frustrating than working at work? Because that's where I am at this point. Like, I'm to the point now where I'm starting to hate teleworking, and I'd rather just be in my fucking office, just because of all the extra bullshit that they feel the need that they have to pile on top of everything else, just so everybody can like prove that they're fucking working and everything from home. Ugh.
Yeah, that's not an issue I necessarily have. We front loaded a lot of our work for what I'm doing. So I'm not in, some of the people in the squadron, they're probably, if your job, like my job right now is to deal with like a process. It's like process management. So process management's a lot easier to do from home. It's so long as that process, like once you get that process going, it's easier to maintain a process, right? If your job is to like interact with humans and like interact with that human element that's part of a particular program or a system, then trying to adequately use that particular human element, I think, is what kind of gets lost, especially if you have a side that's like, well, we need to show that we don't want to assume that you're busy. We don't want to assume that you're ready to do something. We want to prove it. Yeah. Whereas the other side of that is like, people are genuinely busy because they have to do a lot more work to get done what they could do very easily in the office. Yeah. Like I'm in between there. I honestly, my workload has lightened at home. From a work perspective, what I get paid for, it's all the non-pay shit that has me task saturated most of the time. But that's Dave style. That's what I do.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I just wanted to bring that up because I'm to the point now where I don't even want to deal with the bullshit teleworking stuff. And it doesn't help that it's very hard to actually connect to the fucking servers to actually get done what you need to get done nowadays when fucking everybody in the goddamn country is doing the same thing. But
yeah, you have to go on this like alternate work schedule. And then, I know, Big Swede, he logs in late and I'll be getting message traffic late because that's when the VPN's available. That's when he can get shit done.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So anyway, enough about that. Anything else for your week?
No.
All right. So let's hop right into our main topic then, which is this most recent episode of the Clone Wars, the show titled Old Friends Not Forgotten. This was episode 9 of season 7 of Clone Wars. And quite frankly, like after the bullshit that we've been dealing with for the last, I'd say 6 episodes, I enjoyed the first 2 episodes of the season, but man, this shit got old really fucking quick. And the whole 4-episode story arc with Ahsoka and the fucking lesbian sisters, that could have been narrowed down to about a 10-minute fucking chunk of time. But instead they decided to expand it to 4 fucking episodes for whatever ungodly reason.
All right, so they may very well be lesbians, but they're not lesbians with each other.
No. But
they're lesbians. They're allegedly in Jason's world.
Come on, I have eyes. Okay, I know what's up.
All right.
Anyway, but I digress. So this is normally the point where Dave would kick in with a narration, but I guess you're feeling a little not so great. You don't want to.
So my voice isn't really up to it. And starting right from the beginning of this episode, this is different.
Yes, like very different.
Let's just take first. All that bullshit that we just were dealing with, and even the final season in episode 6, they you're talking about what has the hair? What?
The hair, the lesbian sisters. The hair is the dead giveaway. Luna Girl knows.
Oh my god. Anyway, the views of Jason Roskin are not necessarily the views of the All Things Star Wars podcast or Dave, his co-host. Came in straight out of the gate and told us immediately that this is not just a Clone Wars episode. This is the finale. This is what they started pimping fucking last year to get us excited about this.
Right.
This is what the fucking the fucking thing with the trailer. This is what the trailer was prepping us for and all that shit.
Yeah, because it starts like a fucking movie.
Yep.
Right? That's what they're doing. Like right out of the gate, they're showing us this is more like the movies. This is and they're telling us this is gonna have more canon implications, everything, just by showing that fucking old school Lucasfilm Limited logo and then going into the actual John Williams fucking score. Not the exactly, you know, and the score for this whole fucking episode, by the way. Really, really good. They took so many elements of the John Williams score from the original trilogy, far more than they have in the Clone Wars up to this point. There was the point where we had, skipping ahead a little bit, but where we had the Anakin and Ahsoka reunion. You know, we had the Force theme, the actual fucking John Williams Force theme.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Luke staring out at the fucking twin suns and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Good shit.
So one of the things I didn't watch this immediately on Friday. I kind of waited a little bit, and I was genuinely watching people's reaction to see how it started. Mm-hmm. Like I know Big Sweetie had put something like this is something words the effect of this was what we've been looking for. Everyone was real hype about this thing starting. I'm like, all right, you know what? I want to see it now, not because I have to, but because I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't disappointed. Like the fact that it started the way it did tells me almost that like, okay, that first bullshit was shit that they had already, like, we speculated, and some of it's I think out there is fact that they pretty much had a lot of this shit canned.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The stuff with the sisters.
Yeah, both stories, the Bad Batch and the sister story, was all stuff that they had initially worked on years ago.
Right.
So they basically just finished for this.
All right. So they obviously they wanted some way to get that out there. Fucking awesome, right? Because they needed to have a 12 episode season as opposed to a fucking 4.
Yeah,
I get that. All right. Now that we're like, just time out. Look in the chat right now.
Oh, I'm looking.
Do you notice that a certain individual has logged into all of his different YouTube accounts and said something in all his different YouTube accounts? Like, I keep looking down and seeing a different iteration of Swede in there. It's just like, all right.
I didn't realize he was doing that. No, I didn't.
No, it's just anyway. You're not as easily distracted by the chat as I am, apparently.
No,
but I agree with Swede Studios, and it's like Filoni's like, now it's season 7.
Right.
Now, this is when we got the opportunity to finish the story, and they said, hey, this is going to be it. This is going to be your one chance. So like, okay, we've got this other stuff. Now let's fucking do this right. Everything was different. There was a sharpness to the fucking animation, and I think it was even better. Watching it was even better visually than the previous episode was, where we did make the comments about how we enjoyed the visual elements of it, and it seemed like really well done. Well, now it's even crisper. Like the musical element by bringing the fucking no shit score in.
Yep.
And at one point, I was expecting to not have the narrator, and it kind of took me by surprise that it was there. I'm like, okay, that's cool. They did this throughout the entirety of the thing, right? But to me, this is finishing the story arc.
Yeah,
and I just wanted to make sure we emphasized enough that like right out the fucking gate, like they made a statement. They made a point.
Absolutely. And also during the narration and the recap, they talk about how the Separatists have started this new offensive and how they're, getting a lot bolder, and how the Jedi have now been kind of dispersed. And they show scenes of different Jedi basically in place for the purge.
Yeah.
Right. They show Aayla Secura on that fluorescent planet. They show fucking Plo Koon in that fucking Jedi starfighter on that one planet that he's on where he gets shot down.
Yeah.
So they're putting all the pieces into place.
by the by, right? I think they decided with Aayla Secura, like, we're not just going to give the hint of cleavage. We're going to fucking shove it on 65 inches of greatness. It's like, as quickly as that was, as it went by, it's like, huh, okay. And I think especially since I just watched it in episode 3, watched the execution of Order 66.
Yep.
Like, and then when I saw it in the episode, I'm like, ha, look, there she is.
Yep.
Anyway,
so
I'm all about some Twi'lek cleavage.
Yeah, they laid the groundwork for that, and it started with this big battle. I can't remember what planet it was on, but Obi-Wan and Anakin are there. They're fighting off the separatists, the droid army, basically. It's the semi-entertaining sequence with Anakin rolling in and like fake surrendering, which the only thing I'm thinking of as I'm watching this is like here on Earth, like as part of our, our treaties and agreements, I don't think you're allowed to say, "Oh, I surrender," and then like fucking change your mind and go on the offensive. I'm pretty sure that's a war crime.
The Geneva Conventions that only one fucking organization on this earth would actually follow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying.
You're not wrong. But at the same time,
this was us fighting the Axis powers, Japan notwithstanding, maybe maybe you'd get fucking in trouble for that. But this day and age against our enemies now, I totally expect them to do some shit like that and get fucking lit up for it.
Oh, I'm sure other countries would do that to us, but I've just figured, Anyway, I digress. That was the big thing that I kind of focused on in that whole scene. This is all basically building up to the reunification of Ahsoka with Anakin and Obi-Wan. The battle's over. Anakin immediately gets a call on his comm, and it's the voice guy, the narrator, right? Calling him, "Anakin, you need to come to the ship right away."
Yeah, that was good. Good job.
So, him and Obi-Wan go up, and then we get that scene that we got in the trailer, like you said, a fucking year ago, of him and Obi-Wan walking up to the hologram of fucking Ahsoka. She turns around, "Hello, Master." So,
and she even looks different. Like,
she does. She looks older.
Yeah, she looks older. Like I don't know.
Even compared to when she left the Order in season 6, she looks far older. And I wrote down the note here, like how much time has passed? Because even Anakin acts like she's been gone for fucking ever, like he hasn't seen her in years, kind of thing. And I don't think that much time had passed.
Well, long enough for her to get in bed with the Mandalorians. I mean,
and the lesbian sisters, but
well, yeah, technically. And you did have confirmation from an actual like source that could qualify on these things, as opposed to just you saying it. But yeah, she does look older. I forget what the point of that was. I had a point and it's gone.
Yeah. Well, basically they're acting this whole time like it's been so long since Anakin's seen her. Right. And he's like throughout most of this episode, he's got this really weird thing about him where he's like kind of like fawning over her almost, where he's like, "Oh, I want to talk to you and I want to hug you and do all this stuff." And she's just kind of like, "Nah, we ain't got time for that shit." So she's like, "Mandalorians, Darth Maul, we got to, capture Maul, liberate the Mandos." And Anakin just like, wants to kick it and talk about the old times apparently.
Yeah, and I got the impression watching it that it was very deliberately done. And if only to show that Anakin's like caring about like everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. Like if Anakin's more about his being passionate in his relationships and like caring more about the people than it is about the war or anything else. Like, oh, it's about Ahsoka. It's about these connections. Anakin's talking about he's like a father to me, and it talks when he's talking about Obi-Wan in episode 3. It's just, I think that I got the impression that he was like, "Hey, I miss us, I miss this relationship, I got this thing going," and that's what he's about. And same thing when you have the when he brings Ahsoka into the clones, Yeah, I'm fucking stuttering like potatoes and carrots. When he brings Ahsoka in to see the clones and they have that reveal, I think it's the same thing. I think it's more of Anakin. This maybe is this more Legends material about how he's Anakin, like, well, but when he becomes Darth Vader, like all of the legions of fucking stormtroopers are like just absolutely like will die for this guy. Like he was an amazing battlefield general, and it was kind of like it was with the clones, but it transferred over into like where he had these regiments of clones that were just like would do absolutely anything for Vader at that point, because Vader
I think they've gotten into that.
that.
Yeah, I think they've touched on that in some of the canon, which, by the way, the consistency, I know a lot of people like to shit on the Disney Star Wars. They have been so good about maintaining continuity.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, early on in this episode where Ahsoka is basically pleading for help from Anakin and Obi-Wan, and ultimately, which we'll talk about, they can't, but Anakin gives her, you know, Rex and part of the clones. They mentioned that from the Ahsoka novel from fucking 2016, and like, you know, this wasn't even an episode yet. So they had the foresight years ago to mention this. Anakin eventually giving a handful of the clones to Ahsoka to go and do the liberation of Mandalore and all that. And they finally paid it off here. Now we actually get to see it. And Disney's been really good about that this whole time that they've had control of Star Wars, about maintaining this continuity, using the story group to make sure that everything kind of fits into place. Yeah. We get some hints at that when they talk about the fulcrum, right? Because when she first fucking calls Anakin, she uses the fulcrum frequency, which, as we know, was used by Saw Gerrera earlier in the fucking Clone Wars. And then obviously it was Ahsoka's code name in Rebels. So we get a lot of these tie-ins to fucking Rebels. So yeah, Disney has been really, really good about maintaining this continuity and kind of setting things up for payoffs later or vice versa.
Yeah, Keepers of the Holocron are doing their job. And yeah, you have to commend them for it. What are you looking at? Like what right now? Like it's weird because I'm like, I find myself, I'm like staring at this camera, right?
Right.
We're doing this whole thing remotely. I'm staring at the camera and I look up and like, so it's probably weird. I'm just like staring at the camera, whereas you don't look at the camera at all.
Well, so, no, because I'm looking at the laptop. Like I'm looking at your face. I'm looking right in your eyes, Dave. I'm looking right into those big blue eyes of yours. But the camera's oriented over there because of the way we have things set up in the studio.
Right. Whereas the camera's right in front of my face here. It's just weird. And because I guess I'm a little disoriented. It's having some sort of fever dream or whatever. Better use some hand sanitizer. Just like squirt that in here.
Yeah. We get to that point where, you know, Anakin takes Ahsoka through. He's showing her the clones again. And we get to Rex and his crew, the whole 501st. And they've repainted their fucking clone helmets to basically match Ahsoka's skin tone and her kind of like facial markings.
Right.
So that was pretty neat.
It was. I thought it was going to be a little bit hokey, but at the end of it, I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, because they basically allude to the amount of respect that they have for her, regardless of the fact that she's in the order or not.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't know how happy I was with the whole painting of the helmets and all the other shit, but it worked out. It worked out. I'll just leave it at that. I liked the Anakin standing there with her, with obviously is going to be her lightsabers.
Yeah,
and then get interrupted to fucking go run away. You know, do their thing and go save the Chancellor.
Right, which is a great setup, a good segue right into episode 3.
Yeah,
which I can't wait to see what they do for the rest of this season to kind of continue to lead into that.
Yeah, like marching basically into their fucking, like marching all these guys right into their fucking deaths. Yeah. Like I think there's a lot of anticipation for how this fight between Ahsoka and Maul is going to go. Like,
sure.
Which happens obviously at the end of this episode, but how that's all going to play out. But I think at the other side of that is like, this is probably, I would imagine that we just had the last time we're going to have Obi-Wan mention his relationship with what's her nuts.
Oh, the Mandalorian
Yeah.
girl.
What the fuck?
Yeah, her sister was Bo Katan.
Right.
I can't remember what the Obi-Wan's girlfriend's name was.
It'll come to me later. But there
Yeah,
was
help us out in the chat.
There was an obvious moment there where where Bo Katan was like, "Hey, I thought you had feelings for her," and you see Obi-Wan at that. There's that moment of like, "Yeah, I did, but I've got to do this." Right. So his
loyalties.
We'll say loyalties. We'll say his dedication to the cause. Whatever you want to say. And those two things aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. Yeah, I think that's the last time you're going to see like a moment where there's a connection between the Mandalorians and Obi-Wan.
Probably.
We've sent Obi-Wan and Anakin off to go save the Chancellor, and Anakin's about to fucking take out Dooku and do all that shit's coming up. Duchess Satine, thank you, Lunar Girl. But yeah, I thought that was a moment there, in such a short interaction after the alarms are going off and Obi-Wan comes in and Anakin's trying to give her the lightsabers, and all those little moments that are in that small sequence, I think were really, really poignant and are kind of like the starburst that's going to go into the rest of what happens in the storyline.
So this is the point where I kind of took exception to what some of Ahsoka was saying, because the alarm sound, Obi-Wan runs in, it's like, fuck, they're attacking Coruscant, we got to roll. And Ahsoka got pissed. She's like, what, you're not going to help the Mandalorians? And it's like, what the fuck do you expect? There's no like alliance here. In fact, earlier in the Clone Wars, the fucking Mandos are like, no, get the fuck out of here. We don't want anything to do with your war or with the fucking Republic or anything like that. We're our own woman. We're independent. We don't need no Republic. So,
well, yeah. I got the impression that Ahsoka was spending time with the Mandalorians, basically convincing them, hey, if I go and ask this to Anakin will do whatever. Anakin will come and bring everybody to Mandalore. Now, that's not the issue. He's not the guy we need to convince. We need to figure out how we're going to convince Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Because he's the one, he's on the council, right? The bullshit side quest that they fucking put Anakin on hasn't happened yet, right? So, excuse me. So Obi-Wan's on the council, and Ahsoka, probably with her separation from the Jedi Order, like she left because she sees the plight of the Mandalorians, like and what's happening all over that planet, as being more important than necessarily the Chancellor, who's got all these people to fucking protect him. Why not bring a couple of people out from that to go do this?
Yeah.
And you get that. I mean, that's real life, right? Somebody's cause, somebody goes into a cause and it's their cause, right? And they're super, super fucking animated about it. And you have some disillusioned person that may have been on the other side. Like, she left the Jedi Order because of how they sprang and ran to the fucking Chancellor all the time.
Right.
Ahsoka, I think, got it that there was that the Chancellor was part of the problem.
Or part of the solution, whatever your point of view is. But
well, but I don't think that was Ahsoka's point of view. I think if we get anything out of the lead-in episodes of going into Clone Wars, is that Ahsoka was more towards the, hey, I'm here to help the people. So let's help the people. Let's not, we're not supposed to be out here soldiering. We're supposed to be actually helping people.
Right. So, but I mean, you're also in the middle of a fucking war, and your capital and your chancellor is being attacked. No, you're not going to go rescue some fucking neutral planet. You're going to go protect your fucking home planet. Sorry, any other time we might consider helping you, but we got other business to take care of.
Listen, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, but the reality is you're right. From a strategic standpoint, some fucking neutral planet that has a bunch of cool helmeted people on it that your girlfriend used to be on, or you actually fucking go and you do the mission of protecting the fucking country.
Which, by the way, from the moment the fucking Night Owls and Bo-Katan landed on the fucking ship and they came out and those Mandos are walking in their helmets, and then when you get to the part where they like land on Mandalore, all I'm thinking the whole time is I want Black Series figures of all these fucking different Mandalorians.
I know
The ones with the fucking Maul horns and
Yeah.
the red and the black Mando outfits, even the Night Owls, just like all of them. I want all of these in Black Series.
The fucking Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Like, even that clown. Yeah, he had he had a good setup going.
Yeah.
So, and did anybody else, like, courtesy of the Mandalorian, now that we know that, like when his fucking helmet got taken off, like in that fight, where it was anybody else like, oh shit, he's out. You know, you can't be Mandalorian anymore. Somebody took your helmet off. You're fucking done, man. Go ahead and shit in that thing because it's not worth anything anymore. Yeah. And it calls the question, like, I don't know enough about Mandalorians. I don't, because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, is every one of their, like, all these Mandalorians, right, trying to hide in plain sight with their fucking helmets on and shit, right? It's one of the most recognizable how you doings. And you have, like, are they all Beskar? Like, is there, like, you know,
that's a good question, because I feel like we're missing a piece of the story, because I feel like after Rebels, but before the Mandalorian, something big happens with the Mandos. They hinted at it in the Mandalorian show.
Right.
So I feel like there's something big happens in there where everything changes, where the definition of Mandalorian isn't you're one of these fucking people from the actual planet Mandalore, to where now the remnants of that, after the planet's been fucking just ransacked or whatever, now Mandalorian is more of a, you know, a way of thinking or a way of living, as opposed to where you're from.
Well, it makes me wonder too, like, I'm going to throw it out there in the chat. Like, is there a, like, what's the source document that if we are missing something, what's the source document that we need to be thinking? Because I think like Bronco Fett put in the Beskar question is best answered in the Republic Commando series, which is fucking awesome.
But
I think the
Legends,
right?
That's
the Legends materials cover a lot of what happened to Mandalore, because we had the disease that took over the planet, so that you couldn't fucking basically exist unless you had, you know, these certain things. I love everything about how Legends explained the Mandalorians. It made it stronger.
Yeah, and they went deep, you know, they went back thousands of years into the history of Mandalore, the Mandalorians, and all of that. But that's all shit can now. That's the problem. Right.
Unless we talk about it later.
We'll put a pin in that.
Perhaps. Anyway.
So getting on with this episode, eventually, Anakin and Obi-Wan fuck off to Coruscant, but they leave some clones and Rex with Ahsoka, and they go and hit Mandalore. Lots of battles, lots of action, really cool shit going on. Ultimately, they go into the fucking sewers of the Undercity of the main capital of Mandalore. A lot of shit happens. Ahsoka gets basically trapped by a bunch of Mandalorians in the fucking sewers, and Maul walks up. Yeah, Maul walks up. And right before that, the new Chancellor guy, what the fuck was his name? Anyway,
I had a baby, it's a boy.
Yeah, Maul's little bitch boy. He's like, you brought the wrong Jedi. And then Maul comes in and he's like, oh, I was hoping for Kenobi. Why are you here? Tells that to Ahsoka. And that's the end of the episode.
Which totally makes sense, because his beef is with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Right? So he's
that guy who cut off half of his body. Yeah.
Yeah. So how can I get back at Obi-Wan? Which, I don't know, man. You killed his girlfriend right in front of him. Like, and then basically left him there. I'm going to leave you live to deal with that fucking that drama. Yeah. You know, that's going to be part of your fucking punishment. Like, at what point do you want draw Obi-Wan back into, like, you know what? I'd rather have a fucking epic battle again and fucking take him out that way. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the end game was supposed to be there.
Right. Well, you know, it probably was, you know, Maul killed homegirl Duchess Satine.
Yes.
Yeah, and he killed her, and he was hoping that would be enough to fucking just drive Obi-Wan to madness. You know, a year or so goes by, and Maul's all of a sudden feeling very unfulfilled. He's like, fuck, No, now I want to kill Obi-Wan. I let
Yeah.
him kind of like deal with this shit in his head for a while, but no, I'm still fucking pissed. That's not enough. I got to finish him off now. So he makes this big fucking plot to try to draw Obi-Wan to Mandalore, and of course it's Ahsoka instead. That's my theory.
No, I can't dispute it. It does.
Yep.
It does make me wonder. Like, what's nice about going into like this week's episode of the Clone Wars is that even though we know ultimately what the outcome is, I have no idea what's going to happen in the next 30 minutes.
Right. Or even for the next 3 episodes for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've got 4 episodes left. The final episode airs on May 4th. And like from here, we have no fucking clue where they're going to go. We know they finally ramped up to some actual good shit, but no clue what they're going to do with it.
The big takeaways are that, yes, I think they basically made it once they were given this pass to say, hey, go ahead and complete the Clone Wars series. They're like, cool, let's make this shit, literally. And we're going to put that out there. And now, boom, this is how we're going to start with this finale. We're going to start with the fucking Lucasfilm logo, and we're going to do all this fucking shit. And people are going to go like, nipples are going to get hard. They're going to go, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. And like, the one thing I am getting tired of? I'm getting tired of being fed shit so that fucking anything after that tastes better.
Right.
I think they're taking the theory of contrast a little too far.
Potentially. I think it was merely just a money thing. Like, I think Disney is like, all right, Filoni, we'll let you finish Clone Wars, but those fucking 8 episodes that you like had half finished when we canceled your ass 6 years ago, you got to finish those first with, a very small budget. Then we'll let you do these 4 other episodes. I think that's basically...
I don't think Filoni had to prove anything to them, honestly. I think they knew what they had with The Mandalorian, and all the other stuff that Filoni's done has fucking been money. So that's what makes it almost seem that much more ridiculous to think that Disney would ever question, like, how are you going to finish this?
I mean, a lot of people still want him to be the next Kathleen Kennedy. And they still want him to be the next head of Lucasfilm, and he's probably got some ambitions to do that also.
Yeah, who's got 2 thumbs and wants that to happen? This guy.
Exactly. So, this could have been part of his audition, so to speak.
It's gonna look weird in the.
I was just gonna leave it.
Sometimes I really don't need to see myself on the screen.
Yeah. But now it's out there, and you've seen it.
Just awful. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the ass later.
Oh, I'm sure somebody could Photoshop all kinds of good stuff into that image.
Yeah.
Anyway. Anything else from this episode?
No.
I know we breezed through it pretty quickly. It was great though, overall. I mean, overall perception, again, contrast theory. Compared to the rest of this fucking season, this was gold.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy with what they did. I'm excited for the end of this week to see what happens next.
Yeah.
And that's the feeling that I wanted to have for the past 8 weeks going into this. Kind of the anticipation of I think what kills me the most is how misleading the trailer was. Right. And the trailer in the beginning, like, hey, we're going to put the season out. The trailer just was about now. It's what we're talking about now. Everything that's happening now is happening now.
Yes.
So I'm a little disappointed in that. I'm the fucking mislead there. But we're here. We're here now. We got it. Yep. And I'm excited. I'm really happy. I don't think if we missed anything major, like talking points, one of the things I did notice, I wrote down somewhere, but I don't know where I put it. I don't know if you noticed when Ahsoka was going to save the pilot. So they were coming in through the atmosphere. Atmosphere too, by the way. Why the fucking books are they saying Atmos? Have you ever heard it called that ever before? That's one thing that annoys me about fucking Audible. Is I'm listening to, like, I probably have read it 100 times, but like when I'm hearing it said to me, when somebody says Atmos, it makes me want to go like, I'm sorry, Like, do you wipe your ass backwards? Because that you sound ridiculous right now.
Yeah.
Lunar Girl. The season's like when you go to a music festival, second and third stages finish up, and you finally get to the headliners. Yeah, that's fair. It's a fair assessment. But yeah, fuck, where was I going with that? Damn it, Jason. What was I saying?
I don't know, but the thing I was going to say is that what I'm most looking forward to are the additional tie-ins to episode 3. We've already started getting those, which I think is fucking great. With the placement of the Jedi, basically it's like, all right, places, we're about to do Order 66. We need to get you in your spots. So Ayla Secura, here you go. Plo Koon, here you go. And now, like, the fucking calling of Anakin and Obi-Wan back to Coruscant. What I'm really curious about is how far into episode 3 is this concurrent Ahsoka storyline going to go into, right? Like, is there going to come a point where Ahsoka's like, all right, we're done with Mandalore. We chase Maul off. Oh, let me see what's going on in the HoloNet. Oh, there's Palpatine declaring himself fucking emperor and dissolving, the Republic. Oh, well, fuck, that sucks.
Yeah, how much overlap are we really going to see?
Right, which I'm hoping a lot. That's what I want more than anything, is I want a lot of overlap with what happens in this last storyline with the events of episode 3.
Yeah, and go watch episode 3 too, by the way. If you're out there and you're fucking bored for 2 hours and 15 minutes or however long the episode was.
It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
A couple clicks away.
Man, I'm not taking enough advantage of having access to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That one day where I decided to put 3 movies on, it was pretty fucking nice.
Yeah.
Even though I own it all 6 ways from Sunday.
Same here.
Nice to be able to go fucking through my Xbox and go click, 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 and then fucking be able to watch Star Wars.
Yep.
It was pretty fucking sweet.
It's a beautiful thing. So that being said, I think we're going to close the book on this episode. Next week, I know we got some shit about still not doing Dark Disciple. I already talked about it, the stresses of teleworking and all of that. You think it sounds great, right? It's like, oh, you work from home. Fuck it, it'll be great. It's not great. It's not great. So, especially when you work for the people that I work for. And that's all I have to say about that. So, we promise for real this time. Dark Disciple will be the next episode.
It's just wee shit. I've already read it.
I know, but that was a long time ago. Anyway, this is a fairly short episode. Because of the way we're doing the remote recording and everything else, I have to strip the audio files from YouTube, which is why last week's episode was very late to hit iTunes, because we went for 2+ hours that episode, and all of these websites that rip the audio from YouTube were like, no, we can't do that long. So that's why we're keeping it short this week until we find a more viable solution. So apologies for that, but what can you do?
Yeah. Indeed. What can you do? I'm trying to figure out where I missed in the chat where it's talking about when the balls are blue, something has to be done.
What the hell?
I'm like, is that referring to the masturbation that I talked about an hour ago?
Oh my God.
Maybe.
The fact that you're all talking and thinking about that is very disturbing to me.
Yeah, Escape Pod, we're in the infancy of that. We may have to talk offline about how to make that happen.
Yes.
And by the way, we've got Dark Disciple next week. We're only 4 episodes away from the 150. Yep. So we have to keep that in mind for planning purposes.
Yeah, Go ahead. All right, I was going to say, I think the plan at this point is basically anybody who wants to jump into episode 150, we're going to make it about you guys, the listeners. So anybody who wants to jump in during our recording, it can be for 5 minutes, whatever, but we're going to kind of do it the same way we did episode 50, where we brought in a bunch of people. I know that was the first time we ever talked to Bronco Fett. We ever talked to Scott from Used and Abused, a couple other people. So that's the plan to do it again. We've got the technology, as you can see, to bring people remotely into a recording session. So if any of you listeners want to be part of episode 150, just let us know through either the private Facebook group. You can hit us up on Instagram, direct message us there, direct message us on our All Things Star Wars Facebook page. And yeah, we'll schedule a time. Now, obviously, you're going to have to fit into our schedule. We're not going to be able to adjust our schedule to accommodate, a lot of different people that want to be on the show. So basically, it's going to be like, all right, Sunday, May 10th or whatever. I'm just throwing spitball on this. At 5:00, if you can be ready, we'll have you on the show. If you can't, sorry, maybe next time.
Yeah, and we'll finalize. We'll get you a date so that we can so you can mark your calendar.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah. We'll set a date at least 2 weeks in advance so people can prepare and whatnot. But yeah, we won't give you too short of a notice.
Yeah, shit's coming up quick, man. It's already again 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, it'll be fucking May the 4th.
Yep, which is our 3rd anniversary.
It's crazy.
3 fucking years we've been doing this.
That's awesome. I love it. So we'll get a date for all you guys. It'll most likely we'll still be in social distancing. I'll make sure I'm in the studio unless I'm fucking sick again.
Right.
And we'll get you a date. We need to do that. We need to get the next 4 or 5 weeks planned out, to be honest. So we can put a notch on the calendar and have something to work towards.
See,
3PO.
All right. Well, that being said, that's going to close out this episode. Thank you, everybody, joining us in the YouTube channel. And if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, please do that. YouTube.com/C/All Things Star Wars. Right? It's not All Things Star Wars Pod. It's just All Things Star Wars.
I think it's All Things Star Wars.
Yes. Subscribe to us on there. You can catch us live whenever we record, usually on Sunday nights. Sometimes it slips to Mondays. We do it live. And then
we do it live.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
And join the private Facebook group. Go into Facebook, search the Sidebar Cantina, All Things Star Wars. Request to join. We'll let you in if we think you're worthy. And you can get in there and bullshit with us.
Whatever the vetting process may be.
Maybe we like your face, We see your profile picture. It's good. All right, you're in. Jason,
who is the balls are blue and he's looking at faces to let into a Facebook group.
The third time he's mentioned that. I'm starting to get a little disturbed by how much you're thinking about me. And
it's easy to do this way,
right?
Via camera. It's harder to talk about, but not impossible when I'm sitting in front of you. As
sure.
People who have listened to podcasts well know.
Indeed. All right, so that's it. Thanks everybody for joining us, and until next time, Dave and everybody else, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.